Good day, class. Again, my name is Teacher Ren, and welcome to another day of having fun and learning with me. Now, are you all excited for a topic for today? Well, I guess you should be excited because we all can relate about this topic. Now, for the chapter 2 topics that we will gonna be discussing, it is entitled Nurturing Through Listening. Alright, so class, have you wondered what is the difference between listening and hearing? Well, I guess some of you may have interpreted these words similarly or differently, but later on, we're gonna be able to know what really this two concept means, or ano nga ba yung pinagkakaiba ng listening between hearing. So let us consider some of these statements. So imagine your friend approach you to discuss about his or her problems. So you as his or her friend, how are you going to handle it? What advice will you give? Now let's consider some of the few examples here. Number 1, it feels like I'm not good at anything. I am worthless. Number 2, I broke up with my boyfriend. I can't live without him. Number 3, I want to discontinue my vices, but it feels like I am already dependent on it. Number 4, I am distressed due to my parents' separation. And number 5, I am having a hard time to adjust with my new school. Now, imagine one of your friends will tell you about some of these problems. So, you as his comrade or her comrade, paano kayo magre-respond sa kanyang problem, or what advices can you give? Now, before you generate your own answers to those above mentioned statements, let us focus first on the disciplines of counseling. Now, unsa na ng counseling class? Unsa yung meaning ng counselor? Counseling and its definition. So, counseling has been developed in the beginning of the 20th century. So, this means na bago lang na discover si counseling as a field of study. However, its foundation has rooted from early philosophers and psychologists a long time before this. During this period, or a long time ago, the counseling professionals did not perceive themselves as counselors, but rather, they perceived themselves as teachers and as a social advocates, since they focus on attending with emotional problems. So, counseling class, the name counseling has been recently discovered in the beginning of the 20th century. Now, have you wondered bakit at the beginning of the 20th century lang na-discover si counseling? Well, as what we can see nowadays, depression has become has become rampant in all countries across the globe, and that is because as the millennials continue to become trendy or become gadget savvy, some of them have missed the relationship or the importance of building communications or that face-to-face communications with their society or with their family members, and that has resulted to many problems which is related to most emotional or mental problems. So the word counselor does not exist on the ancient times kasi nga most of the counselors, they just perceive themselves as teachers or as philosophers, because even though they have their own names, they still attend to many emotional problems by giving advice and information to the people around them. Now, let's go on to Alright, so in the Philippine setting, the development of counseling was based from religious and superstitious belief in assessing individuals to maximize their full potential by analyzing their strength and abilities. As what we have known, kasi in the Philippines, most of our ancestors usually worship on many anitos or yung mga malalaking kahoy. So we can really say that the very first settlers here in the Philippines usually base their superstitious belief from the surrounding, or they usually base their beliefs and traditions from what they believe as correct based upon their personal experiences, which is actually not proven by science. Kaya nga sinasabi na the early settlers in the Philippines continues to believe on fallacies or yung mga superstitious. Kaya nga, the foundation or the development of counseling was based on this primeval belief or yung mga sinaunang religion or superstitious belief, kasi they play a very important role in maximizing the strength and abilities of the individual. Now, the issues concerning individual workers have also arisen, which led to the development of the vocational guidance. So, this movement or this vocational guidance has aided the community's challenge in dealing with mismatched career. Kasi nga, as what we experience nowadays, maraming mga professionals or maraming graduate ng bachelor's degree na nagkakaroon ng mismatched career. Kasi the fields that they choose to study ay hindi nila tinatrabahuan or nagkaka-mismatch sila when it comes to the specific majors na kanilang pinurso sa college and the job that they would land in real life. Nowadays, the need for the counseling professionals in social communities, schools, as well as homes has been more essential. Kasi nga, counseling professionals play a very important role in containing the behavior or in developing the mental health of each individual in the social communities, in the schools, as well as in our homes. That is why there is a significant development when it comes to vocational guidance. Since it is a relatively new profession, since counseling is relatively a new profession, oftentimes there are misconceptions on how people define counseling. Now, on your own point of view, class, how do you define counseling? unsa din ang counseling in layman's term. So later on, makakuha mong idea kung unsa jud ang pasabutan ng counseling. I know naman na meron kayong previous knowledge about this word kasi nga we've already heard a lot about these words and we've also encountered different situations kung saan makikita natin na meron talagang application si counseling. So one of the myths about counseling is that it only deals with disciplinary and serious mental and emotional problems. Well, that is the first notion when it comes to counseling because most of us think na ang dinideal or ang mga problems na na-encounter ni counselors are mostly disciplinary related. Merong mga serious mental illnesses and emotional problems, but that isn't always the case because there are also clients who does not have these problems, but instead they just need someone to talk to or someone to inspire them. Counseling can help with life transition, adjusting to new surroundings, academic problems, relationship problems, and other struggles that an individual usually encounters. So, counseling class is a very helpful field of study since tinutulungan ito ang bawat tao para makapag-adjust sa kanyang surroundings because there are some people who usually have hard time adjusting or coping up with their environment, especially yung workplace nila, yung school, or yung bagong family or bagong bahay. So, merong individual na nahihirapang mag-adjust. And also, counseling is very relevant when it comes to relationship problems because counselors usually aims to fix problems na na-encounter between a married man and woman para ma-save pa or para ma-save pa ang kanilang marriage life. And also with other struggles na usually gina-encounter ni individual. So counseling is not a process of giving advices, but it is a long-term. So long-term process ni siya class ang counseling. Depending on the severity of the needs of assessing people to help themselves to overcome their personal conflicts. Because usually, mga good class, we as individuals or we as human, we are the one who is responsible for creating our personal conflict. Kasi nga, mayroong times na nahihirapan tayong mag-adjust or nahihirapan tayong i-cope up yung mga problems kaya naki-create yung personal conflict natin sa ating sarili. It is expected from a counselor to express unconditional positive regard, genuineness, and empathy in every counseling session. So, ano na siya class, bali part na siya sa sinumpang tungkulin ni counselor na muhatag og unconditional positive regard or muhatag siya unconditional positive support sa iyang client. Genuineness, because genuineness is not something that everyone can show. And empathy, of course, empathy is very important if you want to become as a counselor professional because it will help you feel the pain, the struggles of the client. And when you feel the pain or the struggles, you'll be able to relate your client and give correct advices or counsel or give correct counseling procedures. Typically, counseling is composed of two parties, so meron siyang dalawang parties. The first one is the one who seeks help, and the second one is the one who is professionally trained. So therefore, there are two parties na involved when it comes to counseling. The other one is trained to guide the client who is having problems o who have personal struggles, and the one siya yung humihingi ng tulong kasi nga hindi na niya makayang dalhin or hindi na niya kayang i-manage yung mga problem niya sa kanyang life or sa kanyang buhay. So, counselor that is professionally trained is desired to arrive and to address the present problem of the client. Again, always remember that counseling is different from casual conversations as it builds professional relationship with the client. Iba kasi yung casual conversation because lang siya, parang normal lang. Bale, yung tao na imong istoryan sa imong problem, syempre maminaw siya, but dili dyan niya ma-feel ang imong struggle or ang imong pain. However, si counselor kasi, siya yung professionally trained na musabot sa imuha or musabot sa imong personal struggles, as well as give empathy to you kay para maano jud ka kanang ma-lift up ang imuhang feelings or at least man lang magamay-gamayan ang imuhang burden sa kinabuhi when it comes to emotional struggles or mental problems or other undesired behavior. Some individuals who are thinking to go through counseling might think that the counselor will offer them prescription. In reality, counselors do not prescribe medication. Remember, counselors do not prescribe medication because it is beyond the limit of their profession. Thus, it is not part of their approach in helping an individuals. Minsan kasi yung mga counselors ma-generalize na sila as parang doctors kasi sila yung nagpe-prescribe, but actually hindi po yun totoo because counselors is different from a doctor. Counselors is professionally trained to handle the personal struggles and show empathy and genuineness to the client para ma-lessen naman yung feelings ng client. However, if a counselor recognizes, so if ever gani ma-recognize ni counselor na a certain client needs a medication, the counselor will discuss with the concerned person or with the client. So if the client wishes to consider the option or the advices that is given by the counselor, then the counselor will refer that individual or that specific client to an appropriate specialist who can provide a proper assessment such as medication if needed. Always remember nga different si counselor and different po si doctor. Basta si counselor, maano lang siya, mo suggest lang, mo tabang sa imuha, mo sabot sa mga problema, mo relate sa mga problema. But when it comes to medical prescription, beyond na siya sa scope ni counselor. Counseling is a help provided in professional and ethical way. A counselor will discuss the issues together with the client until he or she comes up with his or her own solutions before making the decisions which work best to presenting issues. Anyone who provides service could be regarded as a helper but not counselor. Always remember good na ang counselor ginaparealize lang niya ang iyang client sa solution sa iyang mga problema. Mutabang siya kay client para ma-discover ang probable na mga causes or probable na mga answers sa iyang problem, pero dili jud mismo si counselor ang magbuot sa kung unsa man ang dapat na i-decide ni client. This counselor will just present the possible answers to problems and relay it or communicate it with his or her client. Alright, so on the next meeting na lang class, we will gonna discuss the different goals of counseling. So tama na ta there sa definition sa counseling. So God bless you always class and have a good day.